when I was about 1.5, and it was like my brother's bar mitzvah. The keyboard guy was like playing his music, and I was just glued to it, and I would not leave, and I was just dancing and pretending like I'm playing it too. And then she's like, "Wat je demels gesehen?" In Yiddish, she's like, "We already saw then. We darf dich aansparen in the closet. Then we need to lock you up in the closet."
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Hi. Brief intro. Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Which is I, Rikki Rose.
Welcome.
So yeah, I grew up in Williamsburg. Very extreme Hasidish, Satmar, B'nai Yoel to be exact. Really extreme. And then I got married at 19. Was married for 7 years, no kids, got divorced.
Wow.
3 years ago. I moved to Crown Heights for 2 years, and then I moved to Florida. So now I live in South Florida.
Do you like the weather better in Florida or New York itself?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Weather's
definitely
nice.
nicer. The winter in Florida is great.
No, so I'm not of that opinion. Like, I think that Florida is just too hot. It's just too hot.
But when we were there in the winter, it was like really nice.
Yeah, but that's like a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the summer it's hot. Yeah, for sure. It's really hot.
But yeah, so your sect of Judaism, of Orthodoxy, is Satmar, and which is, I guess, a more extreme sect, which is different from me and Chaya, who were like Chabad. So it's a little bit more, I guess, open to new ideas, open to like questions and understanding, and people going different paths. Sometimes not, by the way. Like, we still live in a community where like people judge, and you know, if you're trying to choose your own path,
of
people
course.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's as extreme. So I think that's why like we have such an interest in like delving like what it is.
But before we get into all that, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your Instagram and like what you're doing right now.
Yeah, so I do many different things. I say I'm a jackass of many trades. So I do, well, my main thing is really music and my voice, singing, playing music, and I do some comedy, some funny videos. I talk about mental health stuff, mental health awareness, you know.
Yeah.
And mostly I just keep it 100, you know what I'm saying? I keep it real.
Sure.
Yeah, which is so important. I mean, I guess we can go into the mental health thing. I put that as like the second part, but we can even just delve into it now. Why do you think it's so important to like talk about the struggles of mental health?
It's important because so many people struggle with it, and I guess nowadays it's already a little more stylish, you know, stylish. Right. I used my hands to go to therapy and everything. Back in the day, it wasn't so much, but it's still, people are afraid to get really vulnerable or to reach out for help or to say how they really, really feel. You know, especially on social media, people pretend. It's like nobody wants to see the ugly and the dark. They want to see all the cute outfits and like the makeup and whatever.
It's so true. Know? Like, even people, it's like you like when people are genuine, but at the same time, if someone's like not using a filter and it's not like the perfect lighting, you're like, oh, I don't know if this is like, so, you know what I'm saying? Like, it like does make a difference sometimes in people's mind. They're like, oh, it won't get as much views because it doesn't have like the best filter on it.
Exactly. It won't get as much views. Yeah. It's like the algorithm doesn't like that. You know what I mean?
But I feel like
people like it, but the algorithm doesn't.
Right.
I feel like people like honesty and like when people express themselves and talk about their problems to a very certain extent. And once you pass that extent, people are like, okay, now she's just oversharing and she's just a weirdo and I don't relate to her.
No, but I
all.
actually disagree.
And I don't like that at all. Because I find that that's the case, but why do you disagree?
I disagree because I think in the beginning, people are like, what is this? And it's like they reject it. But if somebody stays consistent with like who they are and like stays consistent with their brand and their like the message that they're trying to put out, eventually they get a following and they get people who like connect with them because they're so consistent. But if like somebody just like comes on and then like they the pressure of like everyone being like, you're so weird gets to them, then they won't ever make it type of thing. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
I think it's different for everybody. It could be this case. It could be that case.
Right. I guess. Yeah. That's always what we come down to. It depends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to steer clear from that, but it always just depends.
Do you think that it got like like this day and age, sometimes it gets too far where like people, where like you said, it's like stylish. So like people become too much of a victim?
I mean, I don't know. I've seen people share some stuff and I think it's brave. I don't see it as
Right.
a victim. Unless in their real life they really do like.
Unless it's like they're making up stuff type of thing.
Yeah, it depends. I think you can get a vibe usually.
Right.
If someone's real or not.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm just like, I know like I've met people before where, and I mean, I guess I can't really judge, but like you kind of are like, is this real or is this just to get attention? But like nowadays, no. But like I remember in high school, I would. You would
yeah,
see
but
people
even
like that,
if
like,
somebody wants to just get attention, there's something missing that they want to get attention, right?
that's true. Yeah.
So, like, in a way, it's like you should still, unless they do it in a really unhealthy way and manipulating others, that's a different story. But
Right. For sure. But I'm saying just the general idea of people like getting in their heads of like, oh, now everyone has anxiety, everyone has this. But I guess everyone should just be accepted to share it and that's
yeah,
it.
of course.
Like I guess it probably does more good than bad. Yeah.
Yeah, you should be able, it's not everybody has wants to do it or has the guts to just come out and say, hey, I'm feeling like suicidal today. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people just keep it inside. So
yeah.
I like to share it and keep it real. Like if I want to keep posting on Instagram, today I do not feel like posting something exciting. I'm feeling depressed, so I'm going to post something a little depressing.
Mhm.
Not too depressing because I don't want to spread that much negative energy.
Right. You want to depress others, yeah.
Right. I even got banned from Instagram once for posting a suicide meme, and they banned me for 2 months.
Whoa.
You know how you can get bonuses from views?
No.
We don't get that many views. We're still in the beginning stages, yeah.
They have like it's called bonuses, and I would get about $100 a month.
Oh.
For views, if I would reach a certain amount of views. According to the amount of views is how much money I would get. Usually it would be between $80 and $105 a month. So they banned me from that for 2 months now. So till January, I'm not going to be able to get it.
Wow.
Because of a meme, it was like joke. It was like making fun of suicide.
It was a joke about suicide.
Okay.
And I was really feeling suicidal, but I thought it was funny and it made me feel better. So I was like, I'm going to share it.
Right.
It was really funny, but...
Can I ask you what the meme was?
It's hard to explain it. You really have to see it. But it was you know the light bulbs that are they have the round piece, 2 round... I have to send you the picture. The shadow of the light bulb.
Yeah.
The shadow of the light bulb looked like somebody hanging.
Oh, wow.
So, and it was God, give me a sign, and then the sign.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
wow, that's dark.
God's just do.
Dark humor, but Instagram doesn't like that.
But you know what? Humor nonetheless, and I also think that humor is a coping mechanism, and it makes people feel better about the terrible things that they feel and think, and I just think that it's a bad policy to ban things like that.
For sure.
I mean, it depends though, because if it's gonna make somebody have suicidal thoughts or act on it, I don't know. Maybe that's where they're coming from.
What's gonna really make people act on suicidal thoughts is the fact that nobody is ever listening to them and they can't speak about it. You know what I mean? The feeling that you're alone. And I feel like that's one aspect, at least going out and connecting in a way, trying to find external voices. It's
Yeah.
it's a healing
If
process.
somebody gets triggered by dark humor, they shouldn't be following any dark humor accounts or
Right. Like everyone
looking
should
out
just
for these
choose what they
things.
want to
If
see.
if they want to stay away from their triggers, or if they want to be brave and face their triggers, they could go and follow it. But to complain about it, those are just people that aren't really triggered. They're just like miserable people who want to hate and complain about
Right.
everything.
They just want
You
the
know what I
power.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So-
This is a little bit like getting way deeper, but like when you have suicidal thoughts, what's like your process to push them away? I don't know.
First of all, suicidal thoughts is very different than like actually like planning and going through with suicide. There's like different things.
Right.
I could have suicidal thoughts, but I'd never actually like take my own life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally.
It's just like, oh, I wish. Oh, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like
I wish like wake up. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I wouldn't actively go and do anything about it. But it's just there's a difference. I think a lot of people have suicidal thoughts.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think in dark times for sure, and I mean even
I
and
think
some
you're
people
right
have it
about
more
that.
often than not. Yeah. So what's your process, or you just like kind of sit in it until it goes away?
I don't know, honestly. Yeah, I try to like meditate and breathe and not let it get out of control.
I saw one of the skits on
Like-
your Instagram, like saying like you calling the therapist and she just telling you to breathe, and you're like, oh, I feel so
Yes.
much better.
Breathing is amazing.
Yeah, it's
Like
crazy.
constant breathing, like when you're like aware of your breath.
I heard
And then you can't think because you're breathing, you're focusing on your breath, so you're stopping your stream of thinking.
right.
Yeah, it's very hard, at least for me, to focus on my breath for like more than a second because of just how crazy like you get control out of your thoughts are just going all over the place, and that's what pulls you.
For
But
sure.
it's a real skill.
I heard this
Yeah.
thing that they said that like half, I don't know if it's half or whatever, but like what's so addictive about cigarettes is that you're like consciously breathing in and breathing out, and like
It's meditating, right?
you're
But
literally
really, with cigarettes is a whole different story. Don't get me started on that because I smoked for a year, like a pack a day.
wow. How'd you
Wow.
quit?
With this book, it's called "The Easy Way to Quit Smoking Without Willpower."
Okay,
I feel like I've heard of that book.
I feel like I also did.
That book changed my life.
Really?
Like,
What
yeah.
changed your life? Like, how did it change your life?
because the smoking was literally killing me physically and emotionally, and it was killing my voice.
Hmm.
It was so bad for me. It was so bad for your anxiety. Like, nicotine is the worst thing ever, but you can't tell that to a smoker, and that's what's so clever about this book, because you're supposed to continue smoking while you read the book. The book
Right.
tells you not to change any of your smoking habits, but then the last chapter of the book, you have your final cigarette, and it's like magic where the next, like when you finish the book, you just forget about it and you don't even think about having another one.
What?
It's not
What is
too
the book
crazy.
talking about?
How?
I think it uses some things to like do some stuff in your brain. I'm not sure, but I know it's just logic. It all makes sense. It clicks.
Right.
Like when I read it, it all like made sense to me.
I mean,
And they don't use like scare tactics or any of that.
I learned in
Typical
psychology
stuff.
like a certain method of like getting rid of like, let's say not getting rid, but dealing with anxiety. Like let's say you're bringing anxiety about not being able to fall asleep. You should convince yourself that it's okay to not fall asleep. And then once it's okay to not fall asleep, you don't have the anxiety anymore. So maybe
Right, exactly.
yeah,
Fighting it.
Basically, like someone's
Makes it
gonna
worse.
tell you like don't smoke anymore, it's bad for you, you're just gonna want to smoke more type of thing.
Right. The struggle in your head, what really makes you want a cigarette? Not the actual cigarette. It's the, I can't have a cigarette. It's the fight. I want a cigarette, but I can't have one, but I shouldn't, but I want one. It's the obsessing thoughts about cigarettes. Like,
Yeah.
not the actual cigarette.
I find the
Does
same
this-
thing with eating. Like eating healthy. Like when I'm trying to eat healthy, like if I'm like, okay, today I'm going to do this, this, and that, it's like so much of like a stress that I end up just going to the extreme versus if I'm just like, let me eat what like feels good and like whatever, I'll be chill, then I end up just eating healthier. I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny because he book the same. It's called the Alan Carr method. And he has a book also on overeating and on drinking. It's called Easy Way. Easy way to overeating, easy way to control drinking, easy way to fly. That's the one I'm reading right now. To like go on a plane for people with claustrophobia.
Okay. I thought he was gonna like teach you how to like have a superpower or something.
It's really interesting because it's all so simple. You wouldn't even think how simple. It's the simplicity of the things he writes. And when he wrote it, he kind of had like this epiphany. He was a chain smoker, smoked like 100 cigarettes a day, usually 60 to 100, I think, for 30 years. All of a sudden, he just woke up one day and realized something, and then he had this epiphany, and he wrote this book. And he like stopped craving cigarettes.
I mean, it sounds so surreal. I don't understand. I feel like I have to read it in order to understand what you're saying. But I do understand the method of just realizing in an instant that you have the free will to make the decision that you thought you never could.
And also that you don't need to rely on this thing.
And like, I don't know. Does he just write how you have the power to just stop? So just stop. And you're just like, oh, okay. Wow, I'll stop.
No, he takes apart, it's really simple, but he takes apart every single reason of why you tell yourself you smoke, that by the end of the book, you don't have any more excuse. You realize that you smoke because like there's nothing good that ever like comes out of smoking. No, you don't get focused. No, you don't lose weight. No, all the things, all these excuses you tell yourself.
Right.
He like makes.
Well, what about the fact that you feel calm after?
Yeah, and you don't even realize it because while you're in your addiction of smoking, you'll tell yourself anything just to have your fix. Like you'll do anything to have your fix. And even the people that quit smoking for years, they still like fight it. They're miserable. Like this is a way to quit without like being miserable about it.
Wow. I think I heard, I think it was comedian Nikki Glacier. Okay. I think she was the one that was talking about this book in like a bit or something, and saying the same
Joe Rogan or something
thing that you were saying, where she like someone was, she was saying she was like reading the book and then she closed the book and she was done or something like that.
Same exact thing.
Yeah.
I think it was on Joe Rogan. But also, I also think the idea that you don't have to fight it for the rest of your life, where like, it's not forcing you to stop. You just kind of want to stop. So you can always go back if you want to, but you don't want to.
You don't even want to stop at the end of the book. It's almost like you become someone who hasn't ever had a cigarette and doesn't think about it or crave it. Mm-hmm. It just like disappears. I don't know. I can't explain.
Wow. That's really interesting. I want him to write books on like every problem in humans. Like
right.
Yeah.
I mean, there are very tiny moments and like where I'll think about it, but it's not the cigarette. It's like the nostalgia of the people that I used to smoke with, but I could sit around people that smoke and I have no problem with it. Wow. If anything, I can't stand it anymore. Like the smell grosses me out. Like somebody who never smoked, basically.
Okay, it's cutting out. Yeah, you keep on cutting out. The audio keeps on cutting out. Do you
take off my Wi-Fi?
Yeah, let's see if that's better.
I will take off the Wi-Fi. Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
What happened?
Yeah, we hear you.
Can you hear me now?
We heard you. We heard you.
You hear me? I don't know what it is. Hello.
Is that one of your characters that you do?
That's that's the Hungarian Bubby.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Do you have a Hungarian Bubby?
I do. I have two, but they're both not here anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you grow up with them?
One of them, yes. But I have my great aunts, and they're the cutest. One of my great aunts, 97. God bless her.
Wow.
Do you talk to them regularly?
Her. Yeah, she's the cutest. She has the same name as me, which is Rivka, but we call her Rivchu.
Rivchu?
Yeah, so it's me, Medif Jew. She's such a cute lady, I tell you.
Is that how she talks?
I don't recommend it. It's good. The fact that you have this, you have this, there's no cure. I'm all. She's.
It sounds entertaining.
Yeah.
So, okay. Is there anything else you want to ask on mental health? I kind of want to get into the like your childhood and growing up the way that you did.
My
Yeah.
trauma.
Your trauma.
Yeah, exactly.
What
The
informs
trauma.
your
It's so funny that
social
like,
media mental health
trauma
stuff?
can be also like entertaining, I guess. Like when people come on and talk about their trauma, it can be like, whoa, you know?
Sure.
Is that weird for you to talk about it in a way that's like that? Or no?
Story. It's not weird at all. It's I'm even writing a book about it.
Right.
Can't wait to read it.
Yeah, I don't know when it'll be. I'm writing.
Yeah, I assume like writing a book about your whole life.
Are you far in?
A lot.
I definitely already have like 100 pages.
Wow, okay.
They're all scattered. I have to like collect them and.
Right.
That's the annoying part. Get a good editor. Sure, she'll help you or he'll help you with it.
Yeah.
I feel like editors are expensive though. You can pay an editor to do that.
True.
What is one thing that you love about the sect or like or I guess admire? I don't know if love is too strong of a word about the way that you grew up or like the sect that you grew up in, sect of like Judaism, and what is one thing that you really don't like and or hate?
Ooh, interesting. I definitely love the food.
Yeah.
100%. Wait, what's your favorite
Some
dish?
kugel, some kegel, some chulent.
Potato kegel.
Yeah.
Yes, I love kegel and chulent. Definitely my favorite dish. Overnight potato kegel.
Ah, it's the bomb.
Then it just like smells up the house the entire night.
Yeah, and even the sweets like palachinta, bundash. Oh,
It's funny
those
because
are-
I'm Sephardi, so like all these we don't really have. Like I know kugel, cholent. That's about it.
Now you cut out. What did you say? You're Sephardi?
Yeah, I'm Sephardi, like 100%. So like a lot of we don't have a lot of Ashkenazi like food. Like I mean like cholent and kugel basically.
Okay, cool.
So
I like Sephardi food too.
yeah,
she doesn't
I like
discriminate.
all
She likes food.
I love food.
I love food.
Okay, the food. That's a good one. What's something that you hate?
Yeah, I also love there's a lot of things I love. The vibes, like the fun stuff, the holidays, the things I think I hate. Hate, I wouldn't use the word hate, but the things I cannot stand is how women like are not equals. That's definitely the number one thing that I would fight for to change.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Could you share the story again that you shared last time with like the singing thing and also like what your mother said to you as a child? Because I just find that crazy.
Oh shit, that story. Oh yeah, so I was the first time when I performed like on a big stage. Was at a Kinnaret's concert. Leah Forster was performing there too. And she had invited me because I met her at a talent show, which I was also not really supposed to be at. But I met her there, and she texted me that I should come to the show, and she'll call me onto the stage to do a song, like from the audience. And my dad would never allow me to go to anything like that, but my mom, she knew how much I loved music, so she let me go. And then I did the song, but my mom didn't find out until weeks later, and then I just got this call from her, and she sounded really upset, betrayed almost.
Yeah. How old were you again?
Someone else. What is it?
How old were you?
I was 17, I think, at the time. or maybe 18. Yeah, like 17, 18.
And was the things that she was so upset about was the fact that you were singing or expressing yourself? Because according to halacha, I guess it would be fine if it was all women.
So yeah, this was like really like it's a place where I barely was allowed to go to watch the performance, let alone sing on a stage like that. Like this is like a very goyish event in my mom's eyes, you know?
Yeah.
She would never go to something like that.
Right.
And then me being on the stage without her permission, she was devastated. She like felt betrayed. She was like, I knew that I didn't even want to come home after that. I was like,
yeah,
I didn't even face her after that, but I did what I had to do. Like,
yeah.
Did you
get
feel
on
like
that
you had
stage.
to do that as like just to like?
It felt amazing. She called me onto the stage. She's like, I'd like to call up Rikki Rosenberg. That's what she called me then. And I was just so excited to be on that stage. Even though I remember I had a cold, my voice wasn't the best, but I was so hyped.
Were you nervous when you were singing, or was it like
I was not nervous at all. I was just so hyper and excited, like overly excited. Like,
yeah, and I guess for like the like secular world, like that's the equivalent of like doing something that like people don't approve of, but like you're gonna do it anyway, and then just like being your own person in that. And I guess for people who are like secular watching this or not Jewish, it's like you sang on a stage. Like, why is that so crazy? But it just goes to show the extremity of like how you grew up. Like, and
yeah, that was like a big deal. Like,
yeah.
Was that like the turning point, would you say, almost in like in your life where you kind of decided you had to take your own path?
yeah, at some point, like I was already with one foot out the door, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't because I was still living with my parents. So I had to like hide everything. And
you had to go watch, what was it, Home Alone at was it your sister-in-law's house?
Oh my God, yeah, I found this DVD, like a DVD player, and I found at my married sister's house like these kid movies, you know, like Home Alone. And I was so fascinated by it. Like for weeks later, I would just replay the movie in my head. I was so fascinated. I was like in awe.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Home Alone is like one of those movies that that still blows me away. So.
Yeah, it's such a great movie. So like you at 18 years old, that was like the first time you broke the, I guess, boundary of being creative as a girl in the community.
I wouldn't say it was the first time, but it was the biggest one. Yeah.
Were you
what were
always
you doing
like
before
trying?
Then?
Sorry.
No, it's
go ahead.
I think we have the same question, which is like, what were you doing before then? I think you've mentioned before that you were hot pink, which wasn't really, it was just close to red, which is not allowed, and things like that. And you were always singing Zmiris at the Shabbos table.
You were
and things
wearing
like
hot
that.
pink before then?
No, I wasn't allowed to. I wanted to.
Okay, sorry.
But
right, like I was gonna ask, like as a child, were you always very creative and expressive and different in that way?
For sure. I was always, my mom was like, told me, like she tells the story like of when I was about 1.5, and it was like my brother's bar mitzvah, and the one-man band, the piano, the keyboard guy was like playing his music, and I was just glued to it, and I would not leave, and I was just dancing and pretending like I'm playing it too. And then she's like, "Wat je demels gezien?" In Yiddish, she's like, "We already saw then. Maar darf dich aansparen in the closet. Then we need to lock you up in the closet."
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
It's so crazy. Sorry, go ahead.
Pretty crazy. They'd always say things like, "As I shoot like, wow, what a waste that you're not a boy." That was always
it's not, the scenario to me isn't crazy because I know that there are these sects that are so extreme. What's crazy is that you're your creativity and your self-expression and the fact that you wanted to engage with music and dancing was a threat. Like that was something that they had to lock away and keep in a box.
Yeah. Which is so
And
not
that's
even
so-
like Judaism. Like Judaism is so much about expressive and poems and mysticism and all that type of thing. So it's wild that that's like considered, and to me it just seems like more of like a control tactic to like keep. Maybe it's out of fear, maybe it's out of love and fear together. I don't know, but
probably to them it was like it starts with the singing at this, and then the next thing you know, you're eating at McDonald's.
Yeah.
I've never had McDonald's.
It's one to that, yeah.
I just feel like they enabled that slide for you. You know what I mean? They're sending you off.
Sure.
Yeah, because it's like all or nothing, so might as well do nothing if you want to go a little bit. Like if being who you are means like that you're totally not,
that you're going to eat cheeseburgers,
then like might as well do it. Like it's just like such a to me it's like such an obvious like road to disaster. But I guess when you're in it and you just like are always taught this is the way to parent, this is the way to do things, then it doesn't seem so bad.
Right. I mean, there's definitely this thing of like that it makes sense that once you try, like you get a taste of something, you want a little more, but
mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But why are you tempted to taste something in the first place? Right? If you have all this room to express yourself, maybe you wouldn't be tempted to try food outside. You know what I mean?
Totally. And I also I want to be fair, and I don't want to just say, oh my gosh, they're crazy, there's nothing to what they're saying and anything like that, because there's obviously multiple ways of approaching this, and I think like trying to understand every facet of it is the best approach. But at the same time, I really think, like, even looking at your comedy, and I said this last time, even looking at your comedy and your and what you sing and all of that, there's such a deep love of Judaism. You're still pursuing such Jewish things and putting that kind of content out, and it's a shame that you had to separate yourself from your community in that way, because I don't think you have a problem with the religion at all. There's no, you never had qualms with. At least that's not your type of content where it's like the religion is not true or God, it doesn't exist or anything like that. It's just that you couldn't express yourself and you couldn't be a female expressing yourself in your community. And I just find that to be so disappointing. And I wish that wasn't the case.
I know. That's my make it in this.
But it's pretty
woman.
It's pretty admirable to see like that you still are like that you are being yourself and you haven't like gone into this like shell of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like you're still you're expressing who you are. So
for sure, if I can't be who I am, then I gave up everything to live my truth. You know? Right. Which I'm still looking for it. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. Let's be real, but
right.
But at least I'm real about not knowing.
Yeah. As long as you can be, and I don't know where the line is to like for like discipline, for like parents to be like to discipline their children and not let them cross certain lines, and to like but to express whoever they like what they want to be. So I don't know. I guess that is tricky, but it just seems so extreme.
Yeah.
So could you tell? I mean, we talked a little bit about your parents, but a little bit of their.
You want to say hi? Okay, she's.
Wait, is that a cat or a dog?
No, it's a dog.
Oh, wait, I can't see him. Her.
Cute.
He's so cute.
Is that your dog?
Yeah.
Oh my god, cutie.
That's my doggy.
It's very cute.
She's napping.
Oh, what's her name?
Tiny.
Tiny.
Is she tiny?
Because she's tiny.
What type of dog is it? I wouldn't know.
Very
anyway,
clever.
But yeah.
She's a mix. A pit lab. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Oh, does she have like a droopy face? I couldn't see her I saw her for like a second on camera.
Oh, but she's tiny. Come say hi. Come say hi.
Hi. Oh,
hi.
She's so cute.
Yeah, she's a little sleepy right now. So
very cute.
She's a puppy. She's like 5 months old.
Oh, cute.
What about your siblings? Like, how many do you have, and like, are you close to any of them?
I have 7.
Seven
Uh,
siblings, yeah.
yeah, so we're 8 together. I'm close, I'd say, with all of them. Not close, but like close-ish. I don't know what the word would be, but I'm good with all my sisters, and then one of my brothers.
I'm
I don't
assuming that
know.
they're probably they're more understanding of your path in life.
Yeah, they're a little more, definitely more than my parents. I still dress with the whole, the shaitel and the long skirt and
Do you
everything.
have to wear a shaitel after you're divorced?
Once you were married, supposedly I have shaved a head too under the shaitel,
Oh wow.
which everyone knows that I don't, but that would usually be the protocol.
Wow.
Once you get,
did you shave your head when you got married?
I didn't when I got married, but I did a few months after. I did it like one time. So.
Wow. What was that like?
I looked actually really. I gotta send you.
Oh, wait, she was cutting out. She said she looked really good.
You said you looked really good, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You probably did. You probably looked awesome. Like, you ever seen those people who shave their head and then they also dye their head a certain color? So it's like pink or tinted blue. I feel like you would look so good in that.
It's like you can't just like, she'll shave her head to listen to the rules, but she'll also dye it, like to be a little bit rebellious. So growing up, did you like? Well, first of all, what was your relationship with your father like? What was his parenting tactics method? Yeah.
I don't know. He's very strange. He was really abusive to us and to mom.
To your mom also?
He's He's the oldest of 14 kids. His parents are Holocaust survivors. So I don't know what happened to him that he's so crazy, but he's just a psycho. No offense to him. But he's a psycho. Yeah, he was really abusive, and it's not like we ever had a good relationship. So when he disowned me, it's not like it was a sad thing. If anything, it was like, all right, cool, finally.
So he disowned you. How? Like, what was the?
So when I got engaged, he said that either I come home, like I ran away right before, and I got engaged because he wouldn't let me get engaged to this boy that my ex-husband that I was seeing, because it wasn't like a set up shidduch, and his family wasn't exactly the kind of family we would match with. Because his mom wears a shaitel, my mom wears a spitzel,
Oh, wow.
Politics.
Details, yeah.
So he had told me at the time, either you come home right now or you can never be part of this family again. And I chose to not come home, and I got engaged. That was it. He never wanted to speak to me again. He came to the wedding, like, as a guest. And then that was it. I haven't spoken to him since. I've tried, but he never, either he'll run away or avoid me. I'm not welcome, in the house.
That's really hard.
I'm so sorry.
What was I going to say? Oh, when you were growing up, like you said that he was abusive, did you ever think of telling anybody about it or opening or like?
So I didn't know he was being abusive while he was being abusive. I thought this is a regular household.
Wow. Right.
That's what I knew, It's not like I had sleepovers at friend's house. Hey, stop barking. Sorry.
No worries. Did your mother, what was your mother's role in all of this? You told us that she was being abused herself as well, but... I
don't know. I think she just suffered in silence, and that's how it is. You see your parents, my mom's parents were probably abusive too. So that's also all she knew,
Right. A lot of times it goes down the line also, yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't spoken about. There wasn't this word abuse. Nobody knew what it is. We didn't talk about feelings or anything like that.
So even with your siblings, like you didn't open up about that. You guys didn't talk about it.
No, now we talk about it, but we didn't know. Like, we were so oblivious. We were all just like living above the surface, just surviving every
Mhm.
day.
Wow.
I don't know exactly how it was for my siblings, but I know for me, I was not aware of anything while it was happening. Only later did I realize that I was being abused.
Right.
That's crazy. Wow.
It's funny. It's actually not funny, but I've seen a lot, and I've read in books about trauma where it's like during the time where somebody is in a traumatic circumstance, they'll sometimes recall, like they'll sometimes be going through that, feeling like things are good and they're happy and their emotions are regulated and things are okay. And it's only after that experience that they look back on it when they're actually going into the depths of what actually happened and processing it and actually having to deal with the real emotions underneath that, which is the dark stuff. So, it sounds like that was your experience as well, where it's like only after was like, did it hit you like a bullet train to have to process what you went through?
Basically, yeah.
I mean, also, if you didn't know if it was wrong or that it is abuse, you're just like, this is what life is.
Yeah, I didn't know. I wasn't such a deep thinker. I didn't think into it that much. I do remember wishing sometimes, oh, I wish I was this girl, I was that girl, their mom and their dad. They look so nice. Like,
Right.
but I didn't think it was like something to be so concerned about or something wrong. It's just, oh, I happen to have a dad that's not as nice, you know? Sorry, I'm just going to get my charger because my phone is about to die.
No worries.
What is it? Oh. Okay, so, I had no clue. I didn't
So
know.
your relationship with your father was basically him like telling you what to do, and if you didn't listen, he would abuse you, and like that's it. There was no.
Well, he wasn't home most of the time, and it wasn't really. It's more complicated than that. Sorry, let me just plug. Okay. All right. So, yeah, it was more complicated than that. Like scare tactics, threats, stuff like that. For not a specific reason, really. He was just scary. I don't know. There
Yeah,
wasn't
I
a
mean,
thing that I would do or, you know, hard to describe it honestly.
So when so you said you divorced your husband after 7 years of being married to him, right?
Hmm? Yes.
And then what was your life like after that, and why did you decide to move on from that stage in your life? I think last time you were talking about how you realized throughout the marriage that that was another prison, that you escaped one prison to go into another one.
Exactly.
So I'd love if you can.
Like, I got married because I thought I would get so much freedom. I also thought I was in love, all that stuff.
right. How did you meet your husband?
We met through a mutual friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we just started texting and then talking, and then we were meeting up a few times. Obviously making sure like no one finds out.
Right. That's really hard. Like, where'd you guys meet? Like, in just different areas?
Yeah, I'd like walk blocks out of the neighborhood in Williamsburg, and he'd just pick me up from there.
It's funny that Williamsburg is like, you walk a little bit out of like the Orthodox area and it's like hippies and like,
Yeah.
it's just such a different vibe. It's funny.
Yeah. Guys,
We can't hear you now.
you guys can hear.
Hello? Oh, sorry. Yeah, we heard you there.
Okay.
So yeah, it took me a while, like to realize that I didn't want to be married,
Mm-hmm.
and
Like, how long were you married for?
7 years. Yeah, it's a while.
Okay. Yeah.
Took me a while.
Were you religious in your marriage?
Yeah, but like more. My skirts were getting shorter and shorter.
Right.
Wigs were getting
Off.
Shorter and
Pulled off.
shorter
Like,
as well.
oops, how did that happen?
Yeah, at some point I stopped wearing a wig too. Yeah, and then I just left at some point. My ex-husband didn't really agree with all that. So
Right.
it just caused more problems, and then I just left at some point.
Yeah, and I think the way you phrased it was that you left one prison to go into another. And I think that, I mean, to be fair to you, I think it takes a lot of experience to realize what it is you want, and putting yourself out there and thinking and just having these years pass so that you can come to understanding. But it makes sense that was the trajectory that you'd go on, especially since so many young girls, the next stage that's like planned out for us in a very religious community is you get married. So, so was there did you ever think like initially that you didn't want to get married, or like this wasn't something that was for you?
Yeah, I definitely did think. By the way, you guys still want the camera off? Is it helping with the sound?
The camera's off is helping. Yeah.
Okay. So,
But if you turn it, maybe we could try with on, but I think it's better to keep it off.
Yeah, I definitely did think like I didn't want to get married at first, but then I realized it's my only way out.
So it was really out of desperation, like it wasn't even.
But it was also, I had happened to be met my ex-husband at the time, and I thought I was so in love, so I was like, when, you know?
Right. And then just your values, I guess, didn't line up, or.
Yeah, a lot of things.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you live in Williamsburg with him at the time?
No, we lived in Borough Park. We upgraded. So fancy. Oh my God.
Is Borough Park less extreme in the religious aspect?
It's more of a mix, I think.
Right. Because we spent a Shabbos in Borough Park.
Yeah.
And they didn't seem so, I don't know.
Well, it was also, oh, right.
Like Hadassah's cousins.
Right.
They didn't seem so extreme, but also, like the girl was walking around the house without like a skirt, but without leggings on.
I guess what she says is that every family is really different with
like, that's true. Yeah.
Their things that they're strict about and things like that. I know you told us last time that growing up you weren't allowed to go to the bathroom unless you put on socks or tights. Was that is that right?
Right. We had to put on socks to go to the bathroom to get out of the bed.
How was it in school? Do you have friends from school that you still keep in touch with at all, or no?
Not really. I mean, there was one girl in my class that I still keep in touch with. She also left. She's not religious.
Mm-hmm.
She went to college now, and yeah.
Okay, well, I think we got a pretty good picture of your background and your just how you grew up, and it's pretty crazy that you're here now. I wanted to talk about what's your relationship with Judaism now?
Right now it's a love and hate relationship, I would say. I love it, and also sometimes I hate it, but I also love it. So
right, it's you have this connection to it, but also it's restricting at times.
I'm relearning it too, so I guess I would give it some time.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different perspectives to learn the Torah as, so it's
sure.
You can always learn it from a new angle.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, really.
Yeah. Are there any religious restrictions that you still observe?
Yeah. What is it? Sorry.
Are there anything that you still keep religious wise?
I don't know. I guess I try to keep kosher as much as I can, but I'm not super strict about it. I'll eat stuff at a non-kosher restaurant, but I'll try not to get meat. And I've never had
right.
pork or like bacon, any of that. Never had that before.
Yeah. It's probably overrated. I feel
Yeah.
like
Is
people
that
make such a big
like
deal
you
out of
just can't do
bacon.
it because of the stigma around it?
Yeah. And then I also,
Yeah.
I've, like, certain things like Pesach and Yom Kippur that I still keep.
Yeah, I mean,
that's nice.
I think you said
you said Pesach was your favorite holiday, right?
No, I think Sukkot,
Sukkot?
Simchas Torah. Yeah, I was born on Torah, so
Oh, yeah.
it was.
Yeah. Would you say you're happier now that you left your community?
I mean, I don't know if I'm happier. I'm not, like, obviously I still struggle. I have depression, but I'm definitely more, like, I don't know if I would use the word happier, but I feel better, feel truer to myself, feel more at ease.
Which I would say maybe, because it's hard to define
Right.
happiness, but like,
happier, yes,
that probably
happier.
could be a, yeah, that's awesome.
Because I think about the alternative of what you could have done, which is, I'm curious to know if you actually think that there are people like this in your community, which is just kind of stayed married or gotten married in a way that your father and your mother would have approved of, stayed quiet, abided by all the rules, and done everything, quote unquote, right by your community. What kind of life would you be living if you were doing something like that? And how would you be feeling if you were living that kind of life? So when you kind of compare both of them, I think that it's like kind of without a question, like a path that is obviously one that you had to take if you were to be true to yourself and actually live life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can't imagine having to live that life. I'd be so, I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like, yeah. What was I
But
gonna say? I was gonna ask something and I totally forgot. Okay. Whatever. Go. Sorry.
I was gonna ask you like a wrap up question, so I don't want to like. If
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
it. Okay.
If it pops in my head, I'll ask it.
Okay, just like quickly insert it. So if you could put a message out to someone that struggles with, not even struggles with the same kind of mental health issues that you're talking about, but someone who is maybe going through the same struggle of trying to be true to who they are, but finding that there's a lot of external and maybe even internal blockings to get to that place. What would you tell them? Like, what would be like an advice you'd give young Rikki if someone is going on that journey?
Damn, that's a hard one. What would I say to the young me? I say, bitch, it doesn't get better. Just get your fucking ass up and do shit, because ain't nobody gonna do it for you. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it seems like you just did that no matter, like, you didn't need the advice, but that's pretty harsh.
Mean.
Like, you're a fourth grader and
Rikki, wants like all the compassion.
She's like, damn, okay.
She just wants hot pink leggings, and you're like, bitch, get up.
So maybe, what would you say to someone else? Because to me, I'd be very hard.
Yes, I could tell. What would you say to somebody else who was going through like a similar experience?
Rivka. Look at this cutie. You can't say something mean to her.
Yeah, imagine. Get out.
I don't know. What would I say? I say,
right. You can't really say gets better because it's not like, oh, life just magically gets
You don't
better.
have to say it gets better.
Say,
like, what would you say?
I know it's hard, and just like be good to yourself, be kind to yourself, and be present. Be present. That's what I would say. Be present and enjoy every second of the good, and even when it's not good, be present too, because you can't get any moments back. Like,
right.
So all we do is to really be present and take it all in.
And back to the happiness thing, I think that's such a big part of it. Just doing everything in the moment to just like make the moment count, because again, you can't get it back. So like if you're just always making your moments count, and that doesn't mean that you always have to be working. Just if that's relaxing, if that's spending quality time with your loved ones, enforcing your relationships with people.
Exactly.
It's just so important to waste them. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, well, guys, if you haven't heard of Rikki Rose by now, follow her on Instagram.
Yeah, Rikki,
She's
can
super
you
funny.
tell us what your Instagram handle is?
RIKI_ROSE. Rikki_Rose.
And you're also on YouTube?
I have
Or
some
no,
stuff on YouTube. But Instagram is where
Okay.
for me.
Right.
Instagram is
Yeah. And we're so excited for that you came on to this. It was such a it's so inspiring
Thank
to
you
hear your story.
I appreciate
To see where you
Thank you for having
continue to
turn on the camera.
help people
Of
and
course.
everything.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you can have your camera on. Thanks again, Rikki, and sorry about the whole mishap
Craziness.
before. Yeah.
Really appreciate
When I come
you
to New
coming
York,
back
I'll
on.
hit you guys up so we can do something in person.
Oh,
Yeah.
1000%. Yeah.
All right. Have a great night.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.